Hey guys, I am back. It's been such a long time since I've made a YouTube video. It's actually been forever, but I am back and I am happy to be back because I am back with a banger. I know I said back about 145 times. I went through and it took me forever, but I created a roster with the top 32 quarterbacks of all time. It's not perfect, like I said. It not in any way possible. Is it not like the perfect 32? I went off of a list and I made a educated decision on who I believe deserved to be in this today. First, we're starting off with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, everybody is in their prime. So Peyton Manning, 99, Tom Brady, 99, Aaron Rodgers, 99, and Patrick Mahomes are 99s. All of those guys are 99s. And basically, as you can see for the ages over here, these guys that I made are going to be 20 years old. For Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and a couple of the other guys that are in this video. Once I get in, I'm going to change their age back to 20 so we can do a full career sim. You know what I mean? But yeah, so these are the 499 overall quarterbacks. I think that's well known. I mean, they're the most skilled and best quarterbacks of all time. Okay, and then at a 96, you got Brett Favre, Dan Marino, and Joe Montana. Then we got John Elway, Ben Roethlisberger, Steve Young, Drew Brees, Joe Burrow, who I do definitely believe should be in this list. I think he is one of the most talented players, and I think he deserves it. Then we have Matthew Stafford, Lamar Jackson. I do think Lamar Jackson barely makes this list. He's about as I'm making this video, I guarantee that he's winning the MVP. I guarantee it. He just beat the hell out of the 49ers. He's kind of locked in his second MVP. I mean, he has to be at this point. 2 MVPs, you have to be in the top 32 quarterbacks of all time. Warren Moon, Michael Vick, Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman, Johnny Unitas, Kurt Warner. And the reason Kurt Warner is a Bengal is because on both of the other teams, the Cardinals and the Rams, there was no number 13, so I couldn't make his number 13. And I really didn't want to go back into the game and go all the way to their team and take out whoever it was. I kind of just took a shortcut. Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach. Oh, hold on. Hold your horses real quick. The team also doesn't really matter. What we're going to do is a fantasy draft. It really doesn't matter what team they are on here. They're not going to be on that team anyway. And you got Steve McNair, Donovan McNabb, Eli Manning, Bart Starr, Fran Tarkenton, Matt Ryan, Otto Graham, and that will round out the list. All right, so like I said, we are going to be doing a fantasy draft. So I'll be on John Elway, and that way, if I'm on a player, then that means that the coaches and the teams and everything can make their own moves, trades, or whatever. All I have to do basically for John Elway is upgrade him and things like that, which is going to be pretty damn easy. All right, so the draft is coming to an end right now. We are about to see where every quarterback got drafted to. It'll be fun to see. Oh, John Elway is a Chief. John Elway is a Chief. And if you see right there, Peyton Manning is a Saint. John Elway has Minkah Fitzpatrick, Marshawn Lattimore. Oh my goodness. I forgot to turn off existing injury. I'll be back. John Elway is now on the Buccaneers. I fixed it, so now there's no pre-existing injuries. Everybody's fine. And I also have to change the ages of a couple players. Let's go see what we have in store for the NFL rosters right now. As you can see, John Elway is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And he has Deebo Samuel, Jalen Johnson. He's got Tony Pollard, Debo, Adam Thielen, Rashad Bateman. The Cardinals are going to have Jim Kelly. So the Cardinals got Jim Kelly, but he has Devontae Adams to throw to. Trey Hendrickson, Jonathan Allen, Deron Bland. This is a extremely defensive team. The Chargers, Marlon Humphrey, they got Troy Aikman. Marlon Humphrey is their highest overall player. He's going to be throwing to Mike Williams, longtime Charger, Cortland Sutton, Jahmyr Gibbs. So this is a good team. The Chiefs got Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, one of the 99s, goes to the Chiefs. They have Jesse Bates, TJ Hawkinson, Travis Etienne, Amari Cooper. Ooh, that offense is going to be, oh my goodness. This offense is going to be insane. Christian McCaffrey has Warren Moon, Cooper Kupp, and Dallas Goedert. This is an insane team as well. This offense is going to be really good. Let's see. The Commanders got Aaron Rodgers, who actually, let me real quick. We're going to change his age. The rest of everybody's ages is at 20, so we're just going to keep him at 20. Aaron Rodgers is now 20, back to 20 years old, and he's a 99 overall. He has Mike Andrews, what? He has Mark Andrews, Tre'Davious White, Tyler Lockett, Raheem Mostert. This is going to be a good team too. I accidentally went to the Cowboys. Have Bart Starr. Okay, that one will be interesting. They have a lot of defense. They got Myles Garrett, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Bobby Wagner. Jerry Jeudy is their #1 receiver. Patrick Mahomes goes to the Dolphins. He'll be throwing to Brandon Ayuk. Ryan Jensen will be blocking for him. He has Devon A-Chain stayed. Now we'll go to the Eagles, who got Drew Brees. A lot of these guys are pocket passers. So Dexter Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs, Jordan Poyer, another good defensive team, good tight end there, and then Christian Kirk, Brandon Scherf. The Tom Brady, the obvious 99 overall. Tom Brady goes to the Falcons with George Kittle, Budda Baker, Frank Ragnow, Jalen Waddle, Austin Eckler. This will be a good team. This will definitely be a good team. I like this one. So Nick Bosa, Fran Tarkenton. So Fran Tarkenton goes to the 49ers. So they keep Nick Bosa. They add Quinnen Williams. That defensive line is going to be insane. And then Aaron Jones, Tariq Woolen, Darren Waller. The Giants get Otto Graham, who is the lowest overall out of any of the quarterbacks. He's an 87, which there's multiple 87 overall quarterbacks, but Otto Graham wasn't the best passing quarterback. He's good. He's a good scrambler, but that's about it for him. But he has Travis Kelce, Sauce Gardner, Elton Jenkins, Zeitler, Alvin Kamara, Garrett Wilson. The Jaguars get Dan Marino. And surround him with Zay Flowers as his best wide receiver. This team doesn't look good at all. I mean, compared to the other teams, this just doesn't look like that great of a team. Their punter is in like their top 15 players. The Jets, Max Crosby, Justin Simmons, they get Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, who's going to be the 4th best player on the team. Phillip Rivers obviously never won a championship, but he was a great player throughout his career. Joe Mixon, Justin Simmons, Max Crosby. The Lions are going to get Eli Manning. They get Eli Manning, 88 overall Eli Manning. Wow, he's really far down there. They got AJ Brown, Stephon Gilmore, Creed Humphrey, Andrew Thomas. That offensive line looks good. They got Justin Tucker. Now the Packers get Lamar Jackson. So that'll be fun to watch, see how good he does. But they also have Trent Williams blocking for him, Levante David, AJ Terrell. Devontae Smith will be his #1 wide receiver. The Panthers, Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, Cam Hayward, and Donovan McNabb. D-Nab is going to be the Panthers. They have an all right team. They have a younger team. The Patriots get Josh Allen. So Josh Allen will go in division over to the Patriots. They have Tyron Smith, Penei Sewell, so he has a good offensive line to work behind. Then he has Josh Jacobs, Mike Evans, Wyatt Teller. Yeah, that offensive line is insane. And that's all offense in the top, 7 players? And then you got defense. So Justin Jefferson, who's thrown to and D-Hop. Matt Ryan has D-Hop and Justin Jefferson. And Matt Ryan got blessed with one of the best offensive teams I've already seen. Justin Jefferson and DeAndre Hopkins. What in the hell? Okay, and then Pat Freiermuth. Who's their running back? Tyler Algier. So they kind of really sold out for those wide receivers. The Rams get Brett Favre. So Brett Favre goes to the Rams with Saquon Barkley, Antoine Winfield. His #1 wide receiver is going to be Terry McLaurin. The Saints get Steve Young, Keenan Allen, Rashawn Slater. This team, again, good offensive line. Looks like a good, well-rounded team here. The Seahawks, they get TJ Watt, Pat Surtain. Both probably the best at their position right now. And that's Matt Stafford, who I need to change his age real quick. I need to change also Patrick Mahomes. I need to change Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson too, which I'm probably going to do that real quick. I'll be back. Every kill, wait. I just missed this team. I just missed this team. What? They didn't get a quarterback. They got Jalen Hurts. They just didn't go get a quarterback. Well, I accidentally skipped across this team, I think, because they have Tyreek Hill. But they don't have a quarterback. Alrighty, so I got that whole situation fixed. I got everybody's age fixed, and I got the problem fixed. So the Ravens have Russell Wilson now. But the issue is that I actually forgot to edit Russell Wilson because I knew he was one of my guys. I forgot to edit him to his younger self and make him a 90. He was the one person I forgot, so I made sure this time he is on the team. Russell Wilson is a Raven. This is the team that was missing a quarterback. So Russell Wilson will be the quarterback of a Tyreek Hill, Zach Martin, Nick Chubb offense, which is really freaking good. This offense is going to be really good. They have two 99s and a 98. How does that even happen? Now the Steelers keep Ben Roethlisberger. So Ben Roethlisberger will stay in Pittsburgh, which is really nice. That's fun. They also have Fred Warner, Lane Johnson, Teron Armstead, and he will be throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Micah Parsons, Jason Kelsey, Vita Vea, Kurt Warner. He'll be throwing to Puka. So Puka Nacua will be catching his passes. The Titans have Jamar Chase, Tyrann Mathieu, and Terry Bradshaw will be throwing the ball to Jamar Chase. And then Tyrann Mathieu's playing defense, Hassan Reddick. Now the Vikings, they have Stephon Diggs again. They got Stephon Diggs back. Mario Davis, Kevin Byard. And their quarterback will be Steve McNair. Now the Bears, they got Chris Jones, Marshawn Lattimore, and Roger Staubach will be the quarterback of this team with Jordan Addison as his wide receiver 1. The Bengals keep Joe Burrow, so the Bengals will continue to have Joe Burrow, and at a 94 overall, he's their best player. Cameron Jordan, Michael Pittman's his number 1 wide receiver. Then he also has DK Metcalf. Now we'll move on to the Bills, and then the Bills have Aaron Donald, DeMarcus Lawrence, and their quarterback is the main man, Johnny Unitas. He's wearing the leather helmet. He'll be behind David Bakhtiari, and his number 1 receiver is a tight end. But they have 2 below it. So David Njoku, Chris Godwin, Chris Olave. Now the Broncos have Derrick Henry and James Conner. Their quarterback is Michael Vick. So Michael Vick and CeeDee Lamb. Ooh. And Tristan Wirfs. And Javon Holland. And Asante Samuel. And Michael Thomas. All right. Now the Browns get Joe Montana, the guy we haven't seen all day. Joe Montana gets his team. And he has Darius Slay, Foyesau Khan, Von Miller. And his number 1 wide receiver is DJ Moore. Really good wide receiver. Really good wide receiver to have. Let's start. This is going to be a very long video. So let's begin simulating. Injuries are turned off, so this will be fun. Let's just sim to the playoffs. See how it goes. Wow, that wasn't recording the whole time. Oh my god. I don't know how far back that was, to be honest. I don't know how far back. Broncos were the 1 seed, all the way down to the Jets, barely skinny chin inching their way into the playoffs. And then we've gone through 2 rounds of the playoffs so far. We'll go to the first week of the playoffs so far. The wild card, the Jets beat the Bills, which is Phillip Rivers beating Johnny Unitas. And then we had the 49ers at the Buccaneers, and that was Fran Tarkenton beating John Elway. I'm not going to go all through this again because I just did this. This was Josh Allen, or Russell Wilson beating Josh Allen with this stat line. Then this one is Tom Brady. Tom Brady beat out Jim Kelly. Warren Moon beating out Peyton Manning in a shootout game that went to overtime where Warren Moon led his team to a victory, but Peyton Manning threw for 416 and 2 touchdowns. Warren Moon 380 and 4 touchdowns. And then this last one, Saints and Vikings, was Steve McNair beating Steve Young with 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then now, what I haven't looked at yet is the divisional round in which Denver, the number 1 seed, who went 15-2. My favorite team just destroyed the Jets in this first round. Well, they didn't destroy them, but they won 35-20. And that's Michael Vick against Phillip Rivers. Michael Vick threw 263 passing yards and 5 touchdown passes to Phillip Rivers, 248 and 1 touchdown pass. And Phillip Rivers still cannot win anything, which sucks. Joe Mixon had a good day though. 24 carries for 112 yards. Derrick Henry, 17 for 84. He didn't even need to rush that much. But Devontae Parker was our leading receiver. 4 catches, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. N'Keal Harry had 2 receptions for 16 yards, which is more than Michael Thomas. And he had a touchdown. The 49ers and the Commanders. I don't know who the Commanders were. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers threw for only 166 yards and a touchdown to Fran Tarkenton's 220 and 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery had a good day. Tyler Boyd, Tyler Lockett, Darren Waller, they all had decent days there. So this is Indianapolis versus Russell Wilson. So Warren Moon versus Russell Wilson. Neither quarterback threw a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey's probably what won the game there. 23 carries, 108 yards. And then Nick Chubb and Russell Wilson both ran for 60 plus yards, which is pretty good there. Marvin Mims led them in receiving, and Tyreek Hill and Nick Chubb over all of Indianapolis's players. And Indianapolis still took the win. And then Minnesota, Atlanta. Oh, Tom Brady. Steve McNair takes down the almighty Tom Brady. 28-14. Steve McNair, 3 touchdown passes, 236 yards. He did throw a pick. Tom Brady didn't throw 200 yards. He threw 191, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Odell was the leading receiver for the game, and Bijan Robinson ran all over him. Now we will advance to the Super Bowl. Wow. Okay. So Steve McNair. No, that's Steve McNair. This is Warren Moon. Warren Moon takes out the #1 Denver Broncos by 3 points. 192 and a touchdown does it. Michael Vick had 216 and a touchdown. The running game for both teams was pretty good. Cooper Kupp, 5 catches, 81 yards. Aaron Rodgers beats out Steve McNair, 268 yards and 4 touchdown passes. David Montgomery, 17 carries, 135 yards and a touchdown. And then McCole Hardman was the leading receiver, 5 catches, 112 yards and 2 touchdown catches. But yeah, so the Super Bowl right now is Aaron Rodgers against Warren Moon. But I can't simcast it because I'm not either team, which sucks. I wish I could. So the season recap. This will determine. So Aaron Rodgers beats out Warren Moon and wins the Super Bowl, but left end Kenny Clark is the Super Bowl MVP. The NFL MVP was Peyton Manning. Coach of the Year was Sean Payton. Offensive Player of the Year, Brandon Ayuk. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. Peyton Manning was also Offensive Rookie of the Year. I forget because they're technically rookies. So Aaron Rodgers, 145 yards in a touchdown, wins the game. But the running from David Montgomery, Christian McCaffrey did good too. They were both good, but Aaron Rodgers ran for 10 and 51 yards. Rondale Moore led the game in receiving. Jaden Reed had a good game. McCole Hardman. First Super Bowl winner is Aaron Rodgers. The first MVP winner is Peyton Manning. We'll see how it goes next year. All right, here we are to the end of the second season. Let's go look at this playoff bracket real quick. So the Raiders were wow. Okay, this is completely different. This is entirely different than last year. Because last year, the Broncos were the #1 seed. They're not even in it this year. This is almost completely different. This is almost entirely different. The Cowboys were the best team in the league at 15-2. I don't know who their quarterback is. The Raiders, 13-4. Again, have no idea who their quarterback is. The Dolphins have Patrick Mahomes. The Titans, I don't know. The Packers, again, I don't remember these teams off the top of my head. I will as the video goes on. But the Chiefs had somebody. The Falcons with Tom Brady at 8-9 made it. And the Cardinals, I don't really know who their quarterback is, but they made it at 7-10. Now the worst team in the league was the Patriots. The Patriots made the playoffs last year. Josh Allen's team went 2-15. The Broncos they went 6-11 this season. All right, so we are on the next week. So let's go to the playoff bracket and see who won their game. So here, the Bills beat the Indianapolis Colts. So Johnny Unitas, that's who's on the Bills. He goes for 240, 1 pick, 1 touchdown to beat Warren Moon, who had 203 and 2 touchdowns. They went to the Super Bowl last year. Warren Moon went to the Super Bowl last year and they lost to Damian Pierce's 88 yards. Chris Olave had a great game, and then Tim Patrick down there, and then KJ Osborne and Rondale Moore. Titans and the Chiefs. I forget which quarterbacks are in this game. I completely forget. Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is the Chiefs quarterback. I'm not sure, but this was a very close game, a shootout game in which last year in the first round, Peyton Manning also lost in a shootout game to a different team, 35-31. Terry Bradshaw. Peyton Manning had 296 yards and 2 touchdowns. Terry Bradshaw threw a perfect game. He threw the perfect passer rating, 158.3, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 4 completions. Or 4 incompletions. And then Kenneth Walker also had a good game, 21 carries for 83 yards. And what? Peyton Manning had 6 carries and he had 6 carries. That is weird. 6.8 yards per carry. I would never expect that from him. But Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper on both sides of the ball. 9-145, 9-136. But Elijah Moore had 3 touchdown receptions. Then Russell Wilson threw 4 touchdown passes. 164 yards and 4 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes had 262 and 2 touchdowns. The Ravens and Russell Wilson take the win. Nick Chubb with 105 rushing yards. And receiving, Jackson Smith and Jigba caught a touchdown. Marvin Mims, again, 2 touchdown catches. Now, if we go to the NFC, Steve McNair beats out the Lamar Jackson, who had 133. Lamar did not have a great game. So Steve McNair, 147. They both really didn't have great games. Guessing rushing was, Bijan Robinson was the difference in this game. Bijan Robinson with 24 carries for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson went absolutely insane. Stephon Diggs had a good game, and so did Cade Otton. Now the Falcons, Tom Brady beats out Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had 186 and 2 touchdowns. Tom, 218, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Honestly, Aaron Rodgers had a little bit of a better game, if I'm being honest. But Austin Eckler, 105 rushing yards and a touchdown. Tom Brady had 6 rushes. What are we doing? Why is Peyton Manning and Tom Brady getting 6 rush attempts? He had a touchdown rush. He actually ran. Tom Brady ran for a touchdown, but still. And the Bears win a game against the Jim Kelly-led Cardinals. Jim Kelly had 206, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 179 and 2 touchdowns from Roger Staubach. And then was Staubach a runner? Was Staubach like a running quarterback? Because he had 16 carries for 58 yards. Nobody had as many carries as Roger Staubach had. What? I'm so confused. Okay, I made all of these players except for the ones that I just kept in there and changed their names and stuff, or changed their overalls and stuff. I don't remember Staubach being a big running guy. He's a 95 overall quarterback. He's not anything. Yeah, that's what I thought. He's nothing crazy in the run game, which is what doesn't make sense. Dude, what? He's taking 153 carries a season for 607 yards and 540. What is going on? Oh, it's because he's in the Bears. He's on the Bears. I mean, it's not a scheme fit for him at all. But Justin Fields is normally their quarterback. That's why. So they run a lot of option and stuff, and they think Roger can do that too. Let's see who won these games. I guess we kind of already saw. But Tom Brady over here beats out Roger Staubach. Tom Brady had 248 and a touchdown. Roger Staubach 198 and 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Austin Eckler 21 carries for 90 yards. James Cook 14, and Staubach had a lot. Both of them, well, Tom Brady ran another touchdown, but they both had a lot less carries in this game. Steve McNair again. Steve McNair has been really good. He had 296 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Bart Starr 265 and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift and Bijan Robinson both had really good games. And then Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Jerry Jeudy both had amazing games. Stephon Diggs, though, had 5 for 126. Odell also had 7 for 95, and they're the team that wins. All right, now, and this one, Russell Wilson threw for 262 and 3 touchdowns, but it couldn't outlast Matt Ryan. Oh, I remember this team. I'm pretty sure this is Justin Jefferson and DeAndre Hopkins' team. Tyler Algier also had a really good game. So did Nick Chubb and Russell Wilson. They both had fantastic games. Receiving, Marvin Mims. It's always Marvin Mims for this Ravens team. But yeah, Justin Jefferson. Who is this? Anthony Beal. Then DeAndre Hopkins. The spread of the ball is weird. And I forgot, Tyreek Hill is on the Ravens. I haven't seen him at the top of the thing ever. It's always Marvin Mims. Terry Bradshaw and the Titans absolutely destroy the Bills. 210 and 2 touchdowns for Terry Bradshaw. 179, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks for Johnny Unitas. Kenneth Walker had a game, and Jamar Chase had 117 yards and a touchdown. The Vikings with Steve McNair are the 7 seed, and they could go to the NFC Championship, and they lost. They got destroyed. Oh my god, wait. Oh yeah, because the Falcons won that division, and Tom Brady is taking absolute advantage of it because he just got to the playoff, or he just got to the Super Bowl as the 3 seed with an 8-9 record. The NFC was terrible this year. Oh, I was like, what? But Jarrett Stidham threw a pass. It was probably on a fake kick or something. But Tom Brady, 217, 1 touchdown. Steve McNair, 173 and a touchdown. And Eckler had a really good game, 108 yards and 3 touchdowns. Beautiful game there. And on the other side, Matt Ryan, 227 and a touchdown, beats out Terry Bradshaw with only 186. Tyler Algier, 87 yards rushing. So Matt Ryan and Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So let's view this Pro Bowl roster. Let's see what quarterbacks made it. So on the NFC, Bart Starr, Steve Young, and Lamar Jackson. And on the AFC, Johnny Unitas, Patrick Mahomes, and Peyton Manning. It is Matt Ryan, and he was Super Bowl MVP. 38-24. They kind of beat them pretty badly. We'll go check that in a minute. But the MVP of the NFL was Johnny Unitas. Johnny Unitas wins the NFL MVP. You got Matt Ryan. Oh my goodness. Matt Ryan went insane-o mode. 371 and 5 touchdowns. And Tom Brady, 239 and 3 touchdowns. Couldn't win him the game. Wow, Matt Ryan went insane. Tyler Algier, 18 carries for 93 yards. Receiving Justin Jefferson and their rookie wide receiver who won Offensive Rookie of the Year, if you didn't see that back there. They caught 4 touchdowns between the 2 of them. Then I don't even see DeAndre. DeAndre did catch the other touchdown. He had 5 for 44. I'll see you in the next season. That was insane. Alrighty then. We are in the playoffs of the 3rd season, and it looks like the Eagles are going up against John Elway. So John Elway actually made the playoffs after not a great season last season. Let's look at the standings. So the Colts go 13-4. And have the best record in the NFL. Then it's 12-5. I don't know why the 10-7 Cowboys. The 10-7 Cowboys are the best NFC team. That's the best record in the NFC is 10-7? Weird. Then the second best record is the Buccaneers with 10-7 also. And then 10-7 from the Commanders, 10-7 from the Eagles, 10-7 from the... Whoa, is everybody 10-7? Almost everybody's like 10-7. And the Bills... The Vikings went 9-8 and made it. Now, the worst team in the league this season was the Lions. I don't remember who their quarterback is, if I'm being honest. I really don't remember who their quarterback is. The Russell Wilson team didn't make it. The Colts is not Steve McNair, it's Warren Moon. So they've made the playoffs every year. Obviously, the Colts, we got Josh Allen against Johnny Unitas. Peyton Manning versus who's the Titans quarterback? I keep forgetting the Titans quarterback. I always keep forgetting him. I don't know why. Then we have Joe Burrow against Matt Ryan. The Panthers, I don't really remember. LA, that's the first time we've seen LA. Again, don't really remember who they have. Then that's John. I know I just checked the teams, but I completely forgot already. This is John Elway versus Drew Brees, so that'll be pretty fun. And then you have Steve McNair, Steve McNair and Warren Moon just are here every year. And that'll be Steve McNair versus Aaron Rodgers, who is also here every year. The Buccaneers, both times they've been to the playoffs, they have lost in the first week. It looks like the Bucs, they lost to Drew Brees. They lost 28-24. It was a good game, but John Elway, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. But they still lost because Drew Brees put up 185 and a tutty. But Devin Singletary, 18 carries for 78 yards. Tony Pollard, 19 for 53. In receiving, Deebo Samuel, 11 receptions for 132 yards and a touchdown. Darnell Mooney's 6 catches and 111 yards and a touchdown was enough to win the game. And this guy, Dominique Biddle, who was a rookie last year, caught a touchdown. Now, Brett Favre, Brett Favre is on the Rams. He threw for 4 touchdowns and 202 yards against Donovan McNabb, who is the Panthers QB, who had 215 yards and a touchdown and a pick. Saquon Barkley won this game, though. 25 carries for 133 yards. He did not carry a touchdown, though. Pacheco had 73 and a touchdown. Calvin Ridley, 8 for 104. Now here, Aaron Rodgers bounced out of the first round again by none other than Steve McNair. Steve McNair is insane. 327 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the win over Aaron Rodgers, who only had 190 and 1 touchdown. Bijan Robinson, 72 yards rushing. Eric Gray, awful, but it didn't matter because Bijan Robinson was insane. But Eric Gray had 14 carries for 20 yards, but he had 2 touchdown runs. Receiving, Stephon Diggs, insane. And then Jaden Reed led Washington with 6 for 89. The 7-seeded Johnny Unitas led Bills win by 10, 27-17 over the Patriots. 248 yards and a touchdown over 202 yards, and no touchdowns from Josh Allen. Josh Jacobs, 17 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then AJ Dillon had 7 for 33 and 2 touchdown runs. 44-20. Oh my goodness. Terry Bradshaw threw 4 touchdowns and absolutely obliterated Peyton Manning's team. Peyton Manning's team has been eliminated in the first round every single time now. Every single time. And Peyton Manning seems to put up a fantastic stat line every single time. He had 338, 3 touchdowns. He did throw an interception. Kenneth Walker is such a dog. 118 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Travis Etienne, 14 for 21. It was awful for KC. The passing game was clearly not the issue. 6 catches, 149 yards, and 2 touchdown catches for Jacoby Myers. Jahan Dotson, 4 catches, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns as well. 28-7. Joe Burrow gets absolutely destroyed. 28-7. Matt Ryan, 243. Joe Burrow, 162 and a touchdown. And then the run game, Tyler Algier, 3 touchdown runs. J.K. Dobbins and Matt Ryan had some yards, but J.K. just didn't. He got the ball 5 times. They barely ran the ball at all, which was weird, which means they didn't have the ball much. Here we go. So Warren Moon beats out Johnny Unitas. Warren Moon, wow, really good game from both of them. But Warren Moon is absolutely insane. He still hasn't won a championship. He still hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he has been playing absolutely insane. 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. Unitas had a good game too. 244 yards and 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 118 yards and a touchdown. Really good. Honestly, just nobody crazy in the receiving game. Terry Bradshaw leads his team to the same win. Basically 28-7, that's how he beat the last team. And this defense must be insane because they held Joe Burrow and now they held this very high-powered Raiders offense. Matt Ryan had 158 yards and a touchdown. Terry Bradshaw only had 124 and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker is just really good at running the ball. Honestly, nobody really had a good receiving game either. It was kind of mid. And the number 1 seeded Cowboys get toppled by the number 6 seeded Philadelphia Eagles. Drew Brees. Oh my goodness. Wow, this was a really good game. 37-38. It went into overtime. Drew Brees threw for 342 and 3 touchdowns. But that's not even the better performance. I mean, he threw more accurately, but Bart Starr, 389 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did throw 1 pick. Devin Singletary also had 98 rushing yards. Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy, and Rashee Rice all over 100 yards. And Zay Jones was 1 yard from 100. Trey McBride was really close. A very good receiving game. Jerry Jeudy had 3 reception touchdowns, and they didn't win the game. Now we go to the Vikings and the Rams. Wow! Wait, who won this game? I didn't even look. The Vikings won again. Steve McNair, the legend of Steve McNair, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the win. Brett Favre at 257 and 2 touchdowns, but it just wasn't enough. And Saquon Barkley, 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, it still wasn't enough. Bijan did just enough, but that offensive pass game from Steve McNair to Rashid Shaheed and Stephon Diggs. We have 2 6 seeds in the NFC and AFC championship, the Titans and the Eagles, and then a 4 seed and only 1 seed made it, which was Warren Moon. So it would be fun to see a Warren Moon and Steve McNair Super Bowl. We might get that. Warren Moon. So, the Colts lost because Warren Moon is in the Pro Bowl. Josh Allen and Peyton Manning. And then you got Aaron Rodgers, John Elway, and Steve Young. And the Vikings won. So it's going to be a 6 versus a 4 seed. Colts couldn't outlast Tennessee. Terry Bradshaw, 232 and 2 touchdowns. He's never had an insane passing game this whole run. It's kind of just been like Kenneth Walker going off, 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Christian also had 117 and a touchdown. Elijah Moore, 2 touchdowns and a great game. Steve McNair, the legend of Steve McNair. 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Drew Brees, 247 and a touchdown. Steve McNair is insane. Steve McNair and Bijan Robinson are the greatest duo to ever touch the field. Holy crap. And Paris Campbell, oh my God. I gotta be quiet because there's people below me. But oh my God, Paris Campbell had 13 catches, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And they're going to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl winner was Steve McNair. He wasn't the Super Bowl MVP. It was Drew Sanders. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The MVP was Johnny Unitas again. Johnny Unitas has won 2 MVPs now. Steve McNair, another 3 touchdown game, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns. Terry Bradshaw tried. He threw for 283, but he did throw 2 picks, which is probably why they lost the game. And oh my, Bijan Robinson, 154 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Kenneth Walker. This was the fight of the running backs, and Bijan wins over Kenneth Walker, who also had a really good game. Rashid Shaheed had 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had a good game. Stephon had a good game. We're gonna send to the next year. We're gonna see how these teams are doing. I don't know if the Buccaneers were the 1 seed or not. It seemed like they had decent stats all season, so I don't know how they would have missed the playoffs. Johnny Unitas and the Bills get the 1 seed. The Buccaneers are the 1 seed. They are the 1 seed. So ever since Denver went 15 and 2, they haven't been here since, which is weird. You got Terry Bradshaw against the Chargers, who I think this might be the first time we've seen them. Then we got Matt Ryan and Peyton Manning facing off down here. I think Peyton Manning's been like the 6 seed every time. And then you got Russell Wilson versus, who is it? I know who it is. I can't think of it right now. Then you got Brett Favre again. This is the same matchup as last year. Brett Favre versus Donovan McNabb. And you got Steve McNair. Oh, Warren Moon didn't make it this year. But you got Steve McNair against Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers versus, I'm not sure. But Aaron Rodgers hasn't gotten out of the first round ever since he won the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning leading the league in passing yards once again. He only threw 3 picks and 36 touchdowns. Jeez. And they were the 6th seed. That team must suck because Peyton is insane every season. Steve McNair was 2nd in the league with 4,800 yards. Johnny Unitas 3rd with 4,500 yards. Only threw 2 picks on 40 touchdowns. It was Staubach. Staubach is usually last place, and then Russell's usually there, and then Lamar's usually there. Let's check the standings in general. But the best team, wow, we had 2 15 and 2 teams, the Johnny Unitas and John Elway team. Both went 15 and 2. The worst team was the Packers, which is Lamar Jackson. They were 1 and 16. Then Fran Tarkenton, and then the Lions aren't good, and the Browns aren't good. Now the Cardinals made it to the next round, which that's with Jim Kelly. The Chargers, the 7th seed. Who's their quarterback? Troy Aikman. I think this is like the first time we've seen him. He threw for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns, which was better than Terry Bradshaw, who usually gets carried by Kenneth Murray. I said Kenneth Murray, I meant Kenneth Walker, but what the hell? Jahmyr Gibbs had 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker had 133, but 200. What the hell? Jahmyr Gibbs. Wow, that's crazy. Peyton Manning can't get out of the first round. He can't get out of the first round. He loses again and he has another great stat line. He threw for 305 and 3 touchdowns, but it wasn't enough to beat Matt Ryan's 298 and 3 touchdowns. Algier had a great game. Etienne actually had a good game this time. Justin Jefferson, oh my goodness, 161 and 2 touchdowns, but TJ actually had 114 and 2 touchdowns, so they actually did good too. Baltimore scored 21 points in the 4th quarter to win this one, 35-21. So this is one of the first times I've seen Russell Wilson have more than like 150 freaking yards, dude. He has 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers, not horrible game by any means, 234 and a touchdown, and he only threw 5 incompletions. Nick Chubb, another good game for Nick Chubb. He's a great running back, 120 and a touchdown, 8.6 yards per carry. Russ also had 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had 4 total touchdowns. And Tyreek Hill with 7 catches, 138 yards and a touchdown. This is like the first time I've ever seen him at the top of the receiving game. Usually it's Marvin Mims who had 4 for 54 down here. Dang, Aaron Rodgers, both him and Peyton can't get out of the first round now. He had 295 and 2 touchdowns, but Jim Kelly's 174 and 2 touchdowns won the game because Jonathan Taylor decided to go off for 123 yards. Mecole Hardman had a good game. Devontae Adams had 3 catches, but he had a good game. The legend of Steve McNair lives on. He has won 8 straight playoff games. Steve McNair, 268, 2 touchdowns, was enough to beat Drew Brees' 281 and 2 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson had 109 rushing yards and a touchdown, and receiving Darnell Mooney had a good game. Now Brett Favre against Donovan McNabb. Brett Favre had 211 and 2 touchdowns, which was enough to win the game, I believe, right? Yep, he won by 3 with those 2 touchdowns. Donovan McNabb, don't get it wrong, he had a good game, 275 and a touchdown. Saquon with 119 and a touchdown. He had 28 carries, but Pacheco also had 119 on 16 carries, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns, and they couldn't win the game. Let's go to the next round. Play a game, and the Bucks won. The Bucks actually won a playoff game. John Elway won a playoff game finally. So, well, I guess we'll see how it went in this one. John Elway threw for 4 touchdowns. Jim Kelly threw for 2 rushing. Tony Pollard had a decent game. Nothing special, though. Jonathan Taylor should have got the ball way more. He was averaging 7.6 yards per carry. Devontae Adams also had a decent game, 71 yards and a touchdown. And the leading Tampa Bay receiver was Rashad Bateman with 57 yards. Now down to Steve McNair, who still hasn't lost a playoff game in 2 runs so far, won 6 straight playoff games. And this time he beats Brett Favre. He throws for 227, no touchdowns though. Brett Favre had 204 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Oh my God, what is with the running game? 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, Steve has played absolutely fantastic on all these games, but he wouldn't be able to do it without Bijan. Bijan is going absolutely nuclear. Russell Wilson in a shootout with Matt Ryan wins 38-35. Matt Ryan threw for 4 touchdowns. Russ threw for 2. Nick Chubb had a really good game, 99 yards and a touchdown. Algier had 81 and a touchdown. Laporta led. Justin Jefferson had some good yards. Beal. Oh my goodness. 48-45, an absolute shootout. It went to OT. It went to overtime. Buffalo is able to squeak it out. Johnny Unitas threw 443 yards and 5 touchdown passes to Troy Aikman's 353 and 4 touchdown passes. Jahmyr Gibbs again. They didn't win, but Jahmyr Gibbs might be the best running back in the league. 155 yards and 2 touchdown rushes. And Romeo Doubs had 4 touchdown receptions on 5 receptions. 5 receptions, 141 yards, and 4 touchdown catches. And the Bucks end Steve McNair's run. John Elway didn't throw a touchdown, but he threw for 357 yards. Bijan Robinson is just so good. He had 143 and a touchdown, but Tony Pollard's 119 and a touchdown, and Courtney Hill's 57 and a touchdown, and John Elway's 41 and a touchdown. I mean, 3 rushing touchdowns from Tampa Bay's offense. Rashad Bateman had a really good game, 12 for 118, and Russell Wilson beats out the Johnny Unitas team. Johnny Unitas tried, but every time he's lost in the playoffs, he's had 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, but it wasn't enough for Russell Wilson's 159 and 1 touchdown. Dameon Pierce had an alright game, but he did have a fumble, which is probably one of the issues why they lost. Nick Chubb also didn't have an amazing game. Chris Olave had a great game. Marvin Mims had a great game. 2 receptions for 18 yards. He had a touchdown, but come on, man. The Super Bowl this year is John Elway versus Russell Wilson. Let's check the Pro Bowl roster. Let's see what quarterbacks made it this season. Steve McNair, Jim Kelly, Brett Favre. I think that's a little bit different. Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning is here every year, and Johnny Unitas is here every year as well. It is time to see who won in the 2026 Super Bowl of the quarterbacks It was Russell Wilson. He destroys, and he was Super Bowl MVP. So we have had a different Super Bowl winner every year. And if you peep on the right, we have a new MVP. This year it was Jim Kelly, who they made the playoffs, but I think they got beaten like the first or the second round. Honestly, the MVP every year hasn't really done anything. Honestly, I don't know who you could say is the greatest of all time right now. Johnny Unitas has won 2 MVPs, but he's never made it to the Super Bowl, or never won the Super Bowl. He might have made it to the Super Bowl. Did he make it to the Super Bowl last year? He didn't even make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's never made it to the Super Bowl. I don't know who's the greatest quarterback of all time compared to this simulation right now. Russell Wilson puts up another 157-yard game, only 2 touchdowns. John Elway threw for 248 and 246 and 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Tony Pollard had an alright game, but Russell Wilson and Nick Chubb combined for 131 yards. Both had a touchdown. So that's what's going to win you the game there. Receiving, Calvin Ridley had a great game. Debo had a great game. And Rashad Bateman it was all Tampa Bay in the receiving game. Like all Tampa Bay. John Elway made the playoffs again. So did Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady missed the playoffs last season. I didn't even notice at all. So let's actually go look at this playoff bracket real quick. Oh, the Broncos are back and the Steelers. This is the first time we've seen the Steelers at all. Then you got Michael Vick versus Johnny Unitas, who's here all the time. Peyton Manning is always the 6th seed. Always the 6th seed. Warren Moon against, Jahmyr Gibbs went insane. That's what I remember. But I don't remember who their quarterback is for some reason. Brett Favre also got the 1 seed finally. The 2 seed was John Elway, and he'll be playing Tom Brady, who's the 7th seed. Steve McNair, obviously, always here. Steve McNair will be playing Fran Tarkenton. I always forget the Cowboys too for some reason. I don't know why. But he'll be playing Jim Kelly, who won the MVP award last year. Oh, Peyton Manning got taken over by Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman is the Chargers quarterback. Then you got John Elway with 4,700 yards, and then there's a little bit of a drop off where Joe Montana is, who we have not seen in the playoffs once. We have not seen Joe Montana anywhere. Again, we haven't seen Dan Marino anywhere either. We haven't seen Steve Young either. Let's see the actual standings for the year. The Rams finished with the best record in the NFL with 12-5, and then there's a haul of 11-6 teams. Ravens didn't make the playoffs, so the defending champs with Russell Wilson didn't even make the playoffs. Let's see. Worst team in the league. The Packers went 0-17. They went 0-17? What? What does that roster look like? Lamar's an 88 now. I mean, he doesn't throw many picks either. So this team just must not be good. Ooh, they have a 66 overall running back. Oh yeah, this team is bad. Lamar has absolutely nobody helping him. Why is this team so awful? Oh my goodness, this team is so awful. Why? Why? Why is it so bad? What are they doing over there? I don't even know what to say, to be honest. That's crazy. We're just gonna advance the week and pretend that didn't happen. That's the worst team I have ever seen. What is going on? Why are they so bad? Bucks lost, so they didn't win. Denver got beat. Johnny Unitas beat Denver. Michael Vick had 221 yards and 1 touchdown, but it wasn't enough for Johnny Unitas' 295 and 2 touchdowns. And Dameon Pierce had an okay game. And Peyton Manning makes it out of the first round. Peyton Manning, guys, it is a hallelujah moment for Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning finally makes it out of the first round. 268 and 2 touchdowns. That's probably his worst stat line yet. Josh Allen only had 178 yards. Travis Etienne went off with 153. Josh Jacobs also had a good game, but it wasn't enough to win because Jacoby Myers had 147 and 2 touchdowns. Ooh, what a good game here. 28-27. Indianapolis scores 14 in the final quarter to win. Warren Moon, 323 and 3 touchdowns. Troy Aikman, 336 and 1 touchdown. Just wasn't enough because Warren Moon went off. And Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 touchdowns, but he just didn't have a good game. I mean, last year, you saw he had 222 yards in the game. He had 158. Tom Brady, old Tom Brady, threw for 4 touchdowns Only threw for 169 yards though. John Elway's 259 and 3 touchdowns wasn't enough. Running game was kind of mid for both teams. Debo Samuel had such a good game, but they, like I said, they couldn't win. Debo had 9 catches, 125 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Oh, Steve McNair absolutely obliterates Fran Tarkenton. Well, actually he didn't, but their team 42-7. So I'm gonna guess that Bijan went absolutely crazy. Yep, he did. And then the Cowboys in a shootout game win 34-31 in overtime. Jim Kelly, 273 and 3 touchdowns. Bart Starr, 341 and 3 touchdowns. Just a absolute quarterback duel. They went at it on both ends. Jonathan Taylor also had a good game. So it was all on that passing game. And Isaac Campbell, 3-year guy, so he got drafted recently. 5 receptions, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Adams also had a pretty good game. And Johnny Unitas, as the 7th seed, is going to the AFC Championship. Ben Roethlisberger with 208 and 3 touchdowns wasn't able to win this game because Johnny Unitas had 266 and 2 touchdowns. Run game, Najee Harris was all right. I mean, he was decent. Chris Olave was good. And Amon Ra was good. Now Peyton, at least he won one game, but he couldn't win another one. And just 286 and 4 touchdowns. He's had amazing stat lines, but he loses those games. Where he had a mid stat line last week, he won the game somehow. Warren Moon had 3 touchdowns, only 190 yards though. Christian Went had a great game, had 109 yards and a touchdown. And Dwayne Williamson, they had 2 runners who had great run games. Every time they lose, it's because Travis Etienne is just not playing good running back. They only gave him the ball 10 times though. They didn't really give him a chance. Dontavian Wicks with 106 yards. TJ Hawkinson 91. No, DeAndre Hopkins wasn't here before. DeAndre Hopkins left the Raiders and he's on the Colts now. McNair doesn't lose ever. McNair 326 yards and 5 touchdown passes. Bart Starr 286, 2 touchdown passes, but he threw a pick. Bijan didn't even have an amazing game. And Kadarius Toney had 3 touchdowns on 4 catches for 130 yards. Yeah, you'll win when Kadarius Toney's doing that. Another blowout here. Brett Favre destroyed Tom Brady in this one. Although they both had really good stat lines, the only difference is that Tom Brady threw a pick, and that's the difference. Saquon Barkley, 119 yards and 3 touchdown rushes. A lot of 100-yard games. Calvin Ridley, Jalen Waddle, Josh Downs, and Terry McLaurin. 3 of the 4 100-yard games were from the Rams team. Oh, wait. Of those 4 touchdowns, it looks like 3 of them went to Calvin Ridley. Let's see who's going to the Super Bowl. Steve McNair is back in the Super Bowl, and he may win it for a second time. He's already won it once. That team has been dominating all playoffs. Steve McNair may be the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, you never know. Brett Favre, 258 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Steve McNair, 206 and 2 touchdowns. Bijan had a good game. Saquon had a good game. Oh, that was a battle of the running backs. Johnny Unitas, as the 7th seed, are going to the Super Bowl. Johnny Unitas, 300 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. He may be the greatest. I mean, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's already won 2 MVPs. He may be the greatest of all time, too. Rushing, Dameon Pierce had 16 for 77. Well, let's see how this Super Bowl goes. All right, here we go. The 2027 season recap. Let's see who are the Super Bowl champions. It will be... Oh, wow. Johnny Unitas. Peyton Manning wins MVP for the 2nd time in his career, but Johnny Unitas may be the greatest quarterback of all time at this point because this run, he was the 7th seed and he just wiped out everybody. That's insane. Josh Jacobs, that's like the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen him win Offensive Player of the Year, and Peyton Manning wins MVP, but he can't get past he barely got past the 1st round, so he's got to do more. Johnny Unitas, 291 and 3 touchdowns. Steve McNair didn't make too many mistakes. I mean, he threw 226 and 2 touchdowns, but he couldn't win the game. Dameon Pierce went insane, 124 yards and 3 touchdown runs. Kyron Williams also got some love. Johnny Unitas and Bijan. Vikings. Kevin O'Connell, listen to me, man. Listen to me. Bijan Robinson is probably right now the best running back in the league. He is insane. And you gave him the ball 9 times in the Super Bowl? 9 times. You gave him the ball 9 times in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl. Yes, that's 5 seasons in the books. So that'll be it for me today. This is so fun. I'm so glad I'm doing this. Right now, I mean, I guess John Unitas is like the best quarterback of all time so far. Next part will be coming out soon. This is really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.